PMI has been very good about stressing more recently that a project manager is there to deliver value, not to manage tasks, not to be a task manager, but to manage to value. Project manager brings value to an organization because they should understand what is the benefit of the project, why are we doing it, and if at some point maybe the value is not there, they need to be tough enough to be able to say the value is not there. We didn't need to change some of the characteristics or maybe consider canceling the project.
There are opportunities for our work and careers everywhere, if you know where to look. That's easier said than done, especially in our fast-paced and constantly changing world. Mary Ann Faremouth is talking to experts, employers, and job seekers to bring you insight and understanding about what's possible. This is Career Can Do, where we're navigating the new work world.
Welcome to the Career Can Do podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping you navigate the new work world. My name is Mary Ann Faremouth. I'll be your host on this episode today, and I am just delighted to have a guest on my show that I've known for many, many years. I've known Eddie from another professional organization we are both members of, but I wanted to have him on the show because he's a true professional, but also everything Eddie does, he always does it with the intention to make a great contribution to help others. And I'm a big proponent of that. Eddie is a project manager trainer, a coach, and a consultant at Duende Project Management. He's also a co-author of the book Communicate, Lead, and Transform, and he is an adjunct professor at Rice University Susan M. Glascock School of Continuing Studies. I wanted to have Eddie on the show today, really, because as an executive recruiter for the last 35 years, we are bombarded right now for requests for project managers. And with the unprecedented talent shortage we have, I thought Eddie could provide some good insight into what this role is about and also how to get into it. So without further ado, after that long introduction, help me welcome Eddie Merla. Eddie, say hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to share my thoughts and perspectives on project management. I believe project management is key to everything we do. If you look around you, products, services, anything that has substance was created through a project. And that's why project managers are so significant in our world, especially with the world changing as much as it is currently.
Oh, I agree. And I think as we talked about in the Blue Room, Eddie, so many people right now are in transition. Maybe they've lost a job. Maybe they had time to think the last 3 years about, am I really in the right job? What do I really want to do? I think the project management career path is really a very fulfilling one, but you're the pro, you really know this role. And tell us a little bit about the Project Management Institute. And does someone have to be a member or go to that to be in this role, or how does that all work?
The Project Management Institute is the world's largest organization for project management. You do not have to be a member of PMI to become a project manager. It just provides an opportunity for project managers to develop their skills and to obtain the certification in project management. And since it is the world's largest organization for project management, the most sought after credential in the project management field is called the Project Management Professional, PMP. So the PMP is the Project Management Professional credential. It's highly sought after. And as a side note, one of the research that PMI has provided indicates that there will be 2.2 million opportunities for project managers annually for the next few years. So that continues to grow. There's a significant demand for project managers. Every industry is looking for project managers because, again, project managers help organizations achieve results, deliver against major projects to be very complicated and require significant leadership and communication skills as well.
I cannot agree with you more. There is a tremendous demand now for project managers, and I think that's only going to increase. But Eddie, how do individuals transition into this type of role? Do they have to have a certain type of skill set? Can it be learned? How do they do it?
Yes, it can be learned. In fact, anyone, any business or technical professional can transition into a project management role. Many organizations, a project manager holds more than one role. They may have some sort of leadership role, but in addition to that, they may also lead projects or formally hold the title of project manager. Now, to transition to become a project manager or to add it to your skill set, there are a couple of things that you can do. One is continue to develop the skills. Usually individuals that are interested in project management are already strong at organizational skills. They're strong at understanding the overall business and technical, if they are technical environment as well. It doesn't require technical expertise. The technical expertise required for a project manager is to know the business of project management. I like to say that projects and project managers are like the CEO of project. So the larger the project, the more important it is to have that CEO to basically to manage and to lead all aspects of the project. And just to go back a bit, a project will have a beginning, it will have an end, and it will have a focus, some sort of goal or objectives to achieve. And those goals and objectives provide value to the organization. So if someone is interested in transitioning to project management, a couple of things they can do. They can obtain some basic understanding of project management. Just take a basic project management course, which teaches them all the aspects of initiating projects, planning projects, executing projects, and very important, controlling projects. That's one of the most important challenges is control, because projects can get out of control, and project managers, they basically provide the structure to ensure that the results are achieved that were intended for that particular project. Of course, closing is part of the process as well. So they have to be able to bring a project to a close and to achieve the project's intended results. So learning, and then in addition to that, there is a certification, which is helpful. It's not required, but the certification basically lets employers know, organizations know that as a professional, you have gone through the process of obtaining that credential, which is not easy to achieve. So the PMP credential is a difficult credential. It does require at least, if you have an undergraduate degree, at least 36 months of project management experience. You don't have to have the title of project manager, but you do have to have the experience of leading projects. If you have that experience, then the next step is to pass the credential exam. It's called the PMP exam, which is very difficult. More than half the people attempting that certification on the first pass fail. I think the fail rate is 55%. So to minimize against that risk, it's stressed to obtain some good structured approach. There's training offered by many different organizations, but having that training to prepare for the exam can be extremely helpful and lowers that failure rate. Once you have the credential, then again, it's universally recognized. For those organizations understand project management, adhere to project management, they understand what a PMP is. I've been in a hiring position before for project managers, and one of the filters is, do they have a PMP? And more recently, it's how recently have they achieved their PMP? Because the PMP has evolved over the past 20 years. It's significantly involved. It's more focused now on ensuring that the candidates understand all the aspects of project management. It's not a memorization test. It's really a test of understanding practical experience. So the questions on a typical exam get into practical situations. So they're situational questions. It's not memorization questions. You do need to know terminology, but the questions themselves will be more situational, which makes the test a little bit more challenging if you don't have that preparation.
So this twin-day project management service that you own, this consulting firm that you own, if somebody wants to get that PMP, if they contact you, Eddie, and come to this organization,
absolutely.
are you able to help them get that?
Yes, absolutely. I provide the training several different ways. We can train in organizations. I also partner with the local chapter of PMI, the Project Management Institute. So the Houston chapter here, I partner with them, and I provide the project management training and the PMP certification training. I provide that through the Houston chapter. So I partner with them to provide it. I also partner with Rice University and the Continuing School of Education for project management training, as well as the PMP training.
So if I have a client and they call me, Eddie, and they say, Mary Ann, we've got these project managers here, but they're just not strong enough. I'm really thinking I'm going to replace them, but I'm not sure about that. Mary Ann, do you know anyone you can refer to me to come in here and assess these project managers I have and see if they're worth keeping? Do you do things like that too, Eddie?
Absolutely. One of the services I provide audit of project management practices or organizations that maybe need to strengthen their project management practices. I do provide that as a service. In addition, what I've done with many organizations through 20 years of training and working with organizations is I can do a couple of things. One is I can provide training in-house for those organizations to train their project managers. Also assist in what's called developing a PMO, project management office. When you think of a project management office, it's a center of excellence for project management. So if an organization sees a need, maybe they need to ensure that project management services are consistent and deliver results, provide value to the organization, have some standards, then that's what a PMO can do, project management office. They provide that structures. That's one of the services I provide is help organizations with the startup for a PMO. I can also help organizations revitalize their PMO. Sometimes the PMOs get outdated and they just need some help. Or sometimes it's a one-person job, but it really should be a many-person job. A PMO for a large organization can be fairly significant. I've seen several organizations grow from one project manager to 20 project managers in just a matter of years because the business was there. They really needed the help. They really saw the value of it. And once they started with project management practices and standardizing those practices, then they benefited from the results that they get. In addition to that, they're more streamlined. Every project then becomes more consistent. Every project can deliver results. And so if you have 20 different projects, then instead of having 20 different ways of delivering against those projects, you have a more consistent way. So there's different methods, tools, and techniques that can be provided to provide that consistency.
Now, if a candidate comes to me, Eddie, and says, Mary Ann, I've been in this accounting job for about 10 years and I'm just really bored. I'm just really bored. And they say to me, my cousin in Alaska is the project manager. It sounds like he's got a really cool job. Mary Ann, tell me, what are the core skill sets that I need to have if I want to get into project management? Do I say, well, leadership, ability to make decisions, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the podcast.
Right.
If I had to give them 3 or 4 core skill sets that an individual should possess to think about this career path, Eddie, what would those be?
Let me start with leadership and communications. They go hand in hand, but I would definitely focus on leadership and communication. If they haven't been in a leadership role, regardless whether it's accounting or engineering, then that's an opportunity. That's a skill set that can be developed, but developing your leadership skills, which goes hand in hand with communications, that's the key one. The other one, and just about every profession can benefit from this. So even accountant, for example, I say even accountant, I was an accountant for a while. That was actually my specialty. It's how I got into project management through accounting, but the organizational skills, time management skills, those are all key for an accountant. So regardless of what your job is, if you think you are performing organizational tasks, and most roles require some sort of organizational work, time management, being able to manage your time effectively. Another key aspect would be being able to solve problems. So an accountant, engineer, you name it, the profession, their ability to resolve problems, to creatively solve problems is really important for a project manager because you're going to deal with organizational problems. You're going to deal with people problems. You're going to deal with all sorts of conflict and issue. And that's where creative problem solving becomes very important. One other skill I'll add is just the ability to build and motivate teams of people. So a good project manager is not task focused. A good project manager is going to be very good at working with people, building relationships, building teams, interacting with stakeholders. All those require, again, going back to the leadership and communication skills, they require very effective communication skills.
Okay. Now this PMP, if I remember correctly, we just talked about what it takes. I believe I heard you say it takes about 36 months. Is that right? To get the
It
PMP?
is 36 months if you have an undergraduate degree. it goes up to 72 months if you don't have an undergraduate degree. But if you have an undergraduate degree, it doesn't matter the discipline. It can be in any discipline. If you have an undergraduate degree, then 36 months. They used to count hours. They don't anymore for the application. They just want to ensure that you have been serving in the role of project manager. You don't have to have the title of project manager, by the way, but that you have been serving as a project leader or a project manager for at least 3 years, which is the 36 months.
Okay. Now, I've got several requests for project managers. And I have to say, Eddie, that I haven't had a lot of demands for the PMP certification
Right.
lately. Now, that's not to say I haven't in the past, because I have. But lately, I think because of the talent shortage, people are a little more lenient. So
Right.
if we have two project managers and one has a PMP and one doesn't, I would think that the PMP would probably be worth more on the job market. Is that right?
It is. And PMI has some studies that indicate that individuals with the PMP certification do earn on average about 25% more than individuals that don't have that certification. And the reason why, and if I were a hiring employer, even putting aside my project management experience, but the benefit of having a PMP is they understand the language, they understand what works, what doesn't work, they can communicate with others. No matter what organization you're in, if your project requires managing teams of people or interacting with outside organizations, then those outside organizations are going to have PMPs. They're going to have a structured project management. So it's important to be able to talk that language to understand the processes so that you don't have those conflicts and misunderstandings that can happen if you don't have it. So that's the advantage of having someone that's been trained as a PMP, because they do understand the processes and the approach to effectively managing for results. And let me just add one more thing. PMI has been very good about stressing more recently that a project manager is there to deliver value, not to manage tasks, not to be a task manager, but to manage to value. Project manager brings value to an organization because they should understand what is the benefit of the project, why are we doing it, and if at some point maybe the value is not there, they need to be tough enough to be able to say the value is not there. We didn't need to change some of the characteristics or maybe consider canceling the project. Previously, before they had this structure, some projects went on and they actually cost the organization money because it wasn't necessary to continue, or they delivered a product that was basically inadequate and actually cost the organization money.
I think that the project management role now is even more critical, because I think post-COVID, Eddie, people are looking at ways to work more effectively, work more productively, and work in a way that definitely has an effect on the bottom line. So the
Right.
project management area can streamline that process if you have the right person in there to handle the role. And like I said, from my side of the desk, there's tremendous career opportunities available for project managers. And I only think, as Eddie mentioned, and he cited a statistic, that's only going to increase. So it's a wonderful career opportunity. It's a wonderful career role. I think it's going to be more in demand. I think it can be very rewarding. Eddie, if somebody wants to, whether they're a large organization, mid-sized organization, or individual who's thinking about this whole area of project management, if they want to get a hold of you, Eddie, how do they do that?
One way to do it, well, I'll give you a phone number and also just my email address. But my email address is Eddie Merla, EDDIEMERLA at Duende PM, and that's spelled DUENDE PM.com. My direct number is 713-408-6751.
All right. I will have all this information also on my website, Faremouth.com. As I said, I really am proud to have someone of this caliber, of Eddie's caliber, on my show. I've known him for a long time. He truly is a wonderful professional, but a good human being that really has a lot of integrity, helps a lot of people in so many areas. And if you're thinking about pursuing this area of your career or transitioning into this new phase of project management, don't hesitate to give Eddie Merla a call, because he is really, really somebody that can sit down with you, explain to you what it is, and help you get on the right path. So, Eddie, if you had to give our listeners two strong points about the project management career and what the benefits of that could be, what would those be?
The first one would be consider managing projects and becoming more formalized in the process of managing projects, whether it's through a certification or just through better training, because when you do, you not only benefit yourself, but you benefit other individuals, people on your teams, and you benefit the organization, providing them better value. The other point I would make is that it's not about you, it's about the lives and the organizations that you impact through your services as a project manager. So I believe the project manager is a key role, especially with technology changing as much as it is, with challenges like COVID and other challenges that we'll have that we haven't even determined yet. But you need a project manager that can weather the storm, get your team through it, and help the organization achieve those results. And those are my 2 points.
Well, I think those are great points. And again, I'm thrilled that you took the time to come on Career Can Do. I know you're a very busy individual, but I think you've given our listeners so much good information. And again, if you need information on how to contact Eddie, he did give his phone number and website, but everything will be on Faremouth.com on my website as well. So this is Career Can Do. We appreciate you being here with us today and listening to our show. And we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye. Thank you, Eddie.
All right. Thank you.
We thank you for tuning in to our Career Can Do podcast. We make no guarantees on results for your particular quest, but we hope you enjoy the information presented. The views and opinions expressed in this program are solely that of the guest or speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Mary Ann Faremouth and Faremouth and Company. Thank you.